it has been affected with Ebola.
Dear my goodness, Chipotle,
I thought that was nice.
Well, that's got a lot of double meaning to it, because I was talking about Jeb Bush.
Oh, works both ways.
Works both ways.
It does.
It works both ways. It's got layers, like an onion. We're going to take a break, and we'll talk about the onion. We'll be right back.
Few things are as important as finding the right doctor. And under Obamacare, that's harder than ever. Over a third of our hospitals no longer available. Our doctors no longer covered. Fewer choices, longer drives. No state has been harder hit than us. And even after watching it impact New Hampshire, Congresswoman Ann Custer still supports it. Call Ann Custer. Tell her Obamacare isn't working for New Hampshire.
Jean Shaheen and her allies are making false claims about her record on veterans. The truth? Shaheen refused to meet with veterans pushing for reform. She wasn't on the committee that wrote the reform legislation and refused to co-sponsor important VA reforms in the VA Management Accountability Act until after the VA scandal broke. When our veterans needed her, Jean Shaheen was AWOL. Tell Jean Shaheen to stop distorting the truth and fix the VA.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm not pressing the button. So we didn't officially do our Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. For those of you who do watch debates, and I heard about this, Carol Shea Porter and Frank Ginta had a debate. And it doesn't matter what you think about both of these people. There's certain decorum that occurs in these professionalized events that you should pay attention to. And one of them is, you tell the story, because we were talking. We were actually talking to Frank last night.
Yeah, you may not agree with everything Frank stands for or everything that Frank voted for in Congress. We wish him luck and we hope for better this time. However, during the debate, when Carol Shea Porter was talking, Frank stood there stoically, occasionally making notes. Whenever Frank was talking, Carol Shea Porter put on the most unpleasant, supercilious smirk, effectively saying, "Why do I have to listen to this idiot?" There is no politeness. There's no decorum. There's no respect. And I think it's a deliberate disrespect that's shown. And, in the gubernatorial debate, again, Walt Havenstein stood there. He made his points. He's not a long-term skilled politician, and one may have thrown things at the TV occasionally. But, he made his points, and he took notes. And he did not smirk while Maggie Hassan was speaking. And again, she put on...
Oh, my gosh, it was so fake.
She put on a very unpleasant grin or grimace. Again, why am I listening to this idiot? And it is the complete and total disrespect that the Democrats show the Republicans during these debates. And I got to say, kudos to Jean Shaheen, because she lied through her teeth on everything she said.
That's right.
But she did not show disrespect when she was in listening mode. She kept her face more or less straight.
I think she respects Brown. When they discuss stuff, and I don't believe that the other two respect their opponent. But I think that she respects what he's effective in a lot of ways up there.
And he's been a member of the same club as her. Let's not forget
there
that.
You go.
The Senate is an exclusive club, and it doesn't really matter what side
they would find a lot to agree on if they were both in the Senate at the same time.
And they did, and that's part of our objection.
Yes.
But the difference, and I think that is a reason to fear. And I'm going to go down another tangent on that one. In Massachusetts, Charlie Baker, candidate for governor, healthcare CEO, and many other things, is in fact outpolling Martha Coakley, or Croakley as I call her, significantly, because she's unlikable, a poor campaigner, and funded by the unions, and even the Massachusetts voters can see through her.
I think ultimately it's just that she's a bad campaigner.
Right.
She's terrible.
So now...
some jobs you can get. What was she? The state Attorney General?
Yeah,
or whatever.
For a long time.
Yeah. Which is more or less an appointed or barely.
So obviously she knows people. But some people should not campaign.
Okay, so where I'm going on that is this, and I wrote a note to the team, and I'm going to try and make it into a post, is, Scott Brown thinks he ran a good campaign in 2010. Well, he said some good conservative things, which subsequently proved to be false, but essentially he was campaigning against a poor opponent. And Coakley is showing that again in the gubernatorial race in Massachusetts now. In 2012, he was campaigning against Elizabeth Warren. You may not like anything Elizabeth Warren stands for. You may think she's a lying socialist, which she is. Mm-hmm. The problem is she's a very effective speaker, and that is why I'm so worried about the possibility of her becoming the presidential candidate.
Absolutely. She's got a lot behind her.
She does populism really, really well. And now we step forward to New Hampshire. Jeanne Shaheen hasn't won office year after year over, a 12 or 15-year period by being a poor campaigner. And you see that on the debate stage. She lied through her teeth with practically everything she said, but she kept a straight face and showed respect when Brown was talking. It's the face of an experienced campaigner, and he needs to take that very seriously and not just pander to try and be further left than she is. I hope that message has got through. Long and the short of it is, we may get a Republican governor in Massachusetts because he's a decent guy and a decent campaigner, and his opponent is poor. We may or may not get a Republican senator in New Hampshire because the opponent is good.
Well, therein lies the question.
And not to deny Ann Custer any of the possible WTF.
I missed that debate, but I understand she was angry.
Grumpy and angry and rude and confrontational and obnoxious.
Yes, I agree with all of the above.
And these are all the things that we talked about really early on in her first campaign when she was using the F-bomb and taking cameras from trackers and being... She's just obnoxious.
She is a guttural... I'm sorry, but when
she's right here. Let's ask her. Annie. Wait. She's here again.
Oh.
Hang on. The empty chair. So, grumpy and frumpy, I think, describes Annie and Carol. They're the perfect...
you shouldn't be saying that. Let me say that. Grumpy and frumpy, because I'm a female. Right. So I can say it, because then they'll bring the war on women. Why are you bringing that into it? You're just a man.
Grumpy and frumpy are not necessarily gender-specific terms, and any effort to make them gender-specific violates the rights of people of questionable and unusual gender tangents. So you really, that's just wrong.
Okay.
Steve, you being an agenda bender here this morning?
I'm being an agenda bender, yes. Yes. We have to, we've had some strange... Hey, it's weird what you post, and people cling onto and write about. I wrote a post about... genderless gingerbread figures.
What the heck was that? Was that for real?
It was for real.
In California or something? Where was that?
Melbourne, Australia. Selling genderless, organic, vegan gingerbread cookies.
Who wants it?
Because they were for people who were offended by the phrase gingerbread man. Okay. I called it the great taste of forced political correctness upon an already androgynous shape. Free market, have at it. I don't care if you want to sell organic, genderless gingerbread figures.
No.
Somebody asked why are they so white? I'm like, because there's no flavor in them. Now they're racist cookies too.
Yeah, that's right. So, how crazy, huh?
So that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
It is. Well, Melbourne, Australia is the liberal town in Australia. Sydney is less so.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was backward. So Sydney's more conservative than Melbourne?
I think so.
Not by much. Kind of the way Scott Brown is more conservative than Jeanne Shaheen.
Yeah.
With that.
I mean, the real seat of Liberal Parliament is of course Canberra, the artificial city created in the not quite outback.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Melbourne was the original Parliament, I think, but Canberra is where it's been for as long as I can remember.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, because it's everything's on one coast.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not strictly true. There's a couple of cities in the northeast corner, and there's Perth on the west coast, but there's not much in between.
True. There is Perth.
There's nothing but kangaroos.
But I mean, that entire side of Australia is like.
Yeah.
That's Australia to most people.
I guess it's because they're in the southern hemisphere. That right side of Australia is effectively the left coast.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You found it.
Now it's global bending.
That's right.
We'll have Australians calling up and wanting my head on a plate for saying that.
You know what? If you're in Australia and you want to call us, the number is 603-715-9689. That's if you're awake. I don't know what time it is. It's at night there or something. Tomorrow?
Is it 12? 14? 12?
23 hours?
23?
Depends. No, it depends on
22,
depends on the time of day, but it's on the order of late evening.
Okay.
Oh, so they're up, having dinner, listening to GrokTALK.
Yeah.
Good.
And I have a couple of friends over there.
Because the people in Melbourne munching on their genderless figures have nothing better to do than listen to conservatives in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we wish.
Well, it might be helpful if they did so.
They'd get rid of the... Well, I mean, like I said, free market. You want to sell genderless figures, knock yourself out.
Yeah, you can't beat that one. I mean, you're right on that, but...
People,
We have just gone so crazy. We don't even have a little bit of common sense left at all.
We've had a pretty crazy opening segment here.
We always do. Those are the best kind.
The elections approach. Where's that flying squirrel?
I'm just going to make sure you have this, because you have to call David in a few minutes so we can have him, David DeVoy, running for Belknap County Commissioner. He'll be in our next segment. After that, Christine Ivinjack, who's running for the New Hampshire House as a write-in candidate in Ware, I believe, and then Guy Comtois, who's running in he's running for the House in what district?
In it's Belknap district. I'm not sure, but he's in Barnstead.
Okay, so Barnstead.
Barnstead.
All right, good deal.
I'll give you the wrong number.
Yeah. I don't know.
He'll tell us when he gets here.
There aren't that many counties, and yet there's all these seats, 400 seats, and you got to remember the numbers.
And some of the seats aren't even attached to towns, like the one in my district.
Well, we just had
Keith Ammon a couple of weeks.
We had him on.
Yeah,
I've seen his signs.
I got signs for him
He's
in my yard.
Floterial house.
Yes.
Yeah, his District 40 or something. His district runs from New Bedford or something, or New Boston, all the way down to Hollis. Very, very strange district. But I got a sign for him. He's a good conservative.
Well, they had these extra people, and they didn't have a house rep for him, so they had to give him something, and they got, hopefully, Keith.
Yeah, that looks good.
We had
I got my Kevin Avard sign up as well.
Yeah.
Yep, Kevin, they're blasting him on education. They're just beating him up. He needs some help. Hey, go help Kevin Avard.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Democrats are...
You mean he's saying sensible things on education and they're beating him up?
Yes, Peggy Kilmore is out there giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, leftist. She's left of the leftist as far as education goes.
Yeah, she's thoroughly nice, and that's how she gets by, I think. But thoroughly nice, but totally liberal isn't what we want.
No.
And we just hope Kevin doesn't get skunked.
Yeah.
Well, it's a tough district.
It is.
It is. A lot of liberals in that district. So hopefully the wave election effect will improve his odds.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We can hope it lifts all boats.
Well, it should lift a couple.
Yeah.
It lift a couple.
Maybe it'll lift the boats of John Langdon and John Stott.
Yeah. Well, I just want to get the House back, keep the Senate, and hopefully get a governor. But if we don't, at least we can slow one down. So
let's get some executive council seats.
Steve
and let's
McDonald
get
here
Bill
with Mike Rogers and Jane Cormier, and we'll be right back with David DeVoy.
When asked whether she still supports Obamacare, Senator Jane Shaheen said,
"Yes, I do continue to support the law. We're beginning to see some positive results."
How can Senator Shaheen say we're seeing positive results when 22,000 of our neighbors have already lost their health insurance? What's worse, the Boston Globe reports the state's only health insurance provider radically reduced the number of hospitals in their network, forcing some people to drive over an hour for lab work, even when there's a hospital within a few miles of their home. When pressed about lack of access, Shaheen said,
"There are some hospitals that are not covered, unfortunately, and I certainly hope that's going to change."
Jane Shaheen promised us we could keep our doctors and our healthcare coverage. Now she hopes we can get to a local hospital? Call Senator Shaheen at 603-647-7500. Tell her we need more than hope. We need leadership. Paid for by Citizens for a Strong New Hampshire.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is a repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning. You're listening to